live at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a man was seriously injured in a house fire in Augusta yesterday. We'll have the details coming up.
Plus, folks gathered in Bangor last night to voice concerns about a possible rate hike for water. And the first woman to serve as Adjutant General for the Maine National Guard has now been promoted once again. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. You're almost through the work week. Almost. Just hang in there. We'll have all the day's news coming up in just a few moments, but first a check of the forecast, and it's looking like kind of a quiet day today, just kind of on the cloudy side, and then a little snow moving into the area tonight. The further south you go, the more snow you're going to see. Hopefully it's not too much. Right around here, it's looking like maybe a couple of inches or so. Not too bad. We'll have to wait and see. Yes. Let's turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have advisories posted. A small craft advisory up until Sunday at around 5 a.m. and a winter weather advisory that runs until Saturday at around 7 a.m. for snow accumulations further off toward the south and west that will cause some travel difficulties. But in the meantime, it's a calm before the storm as the rest of the state is very quiet. But we are going to be watching for increasing clouds today as a system located right about in here will be tracking off towards the north and east throughout the daytime period today, and it will cause increasing clouds across the region during the day. Later on tonight, we will be seeing the snow passing through. It will start to clear out of here throughout the day on Saturday. But in the meantime, gusty winds will also become a thing throughout the evening period tonight, and that will continue as we head towards your Saturday. Gusty winds up to around 20 miles per hour. Hourly forecast today will have increasing clouds with temperatures making it into the 30s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll look forward to that. A house fire in Augusta left one man badly injured. It was just after 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon when crews were dispatched to 347 Riverside Drive in Augusta. Fire Chief Dave Groder says they found a fire in the basement. Officials say one man was still inside at the time. He was critically injured and rushed to a local hospital where a Life Flight helicopter was waiting. Groder says the fire was contained to the basement and quickly brought under control. The northbound side of Riverside Drive in Augusta between Route 3 and Stevens Road was shut down as crews worked the scene there, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation by the fire marshal's office. The man's condition is unknown this morning. Augusta police are investigating a suspicious package delivered to the Maine Republican Party headquarters. Chief Kevin Lully says officers responded at around 1 p.m. to the headquarters location on Higgins Street for a report of a suspicious package received. There are no confirmed details on what was in that package. The package was isolated, building occupants were evacuated, and police are working with other law enforcement partners to identify the contents. Police say there are currently no known injuries or illnesses associated with that package.
It's unfortunate that things are getting insane like this. I mean, we're just a political party. We haven't done anything crazy, and now we're getting, stupid envelopes with stuff in it. So it's not going to stop us, and we always act cautiously when it comes to safety situations, but we're going to continue doing our work because this stuff is getting out of hand.
Augusta police ask anyone with information regarding the whereabouts or identity of anyone involved to reach out to the Augusta Police Department's Criminal Investigations Bureau at 626-2370, extension 3418.
People in Bangor gathered last night to voice their questions and concerns around a proposed rate hike for water. Our Callie Warren with that story.
10.5% is a huge increase, no matter how you calculate. Did you get a 10.5% increase in wages this year?
Economic conditions are straining Bangor's water district and Bangor residents. The water district laid out their plan Thursday to raise water prices 10.5% across the board.
One of the biggest issues facing us is we have 200 miles of water main under the streets of Bangor, and 42 of those miles are over 100 years old. You're talking $2 million a mile for replacing water mains. That's $84 million we're facing.
The city experienced 73 water main breaks in 2025 alone. Those from the district say their water prices, even with the proposal, are already affordable compared to other options.
A gallon of water that you buy at a store is $1.26 roughly, and we sell that for 0.0107 cents for that same gallon of water.
But residents say they're facing much more strain on their wallets in recent years, and this proposal only worsens it.
And today we are looking at rate increases of 60% here in Bangor for electricity, 40 to 60% increases on natural gas and heating oil, and this is all since 2020.
The 10.5% price hike is a flat rate for all water consumers. The Water District says for the average residential consumer, the increase will be around $11 per quarter, making an extra $44 per year.
There comes a point where it's the straw that breaks the camel's back, and I'm not saying this is it. I just think things are going to get worse until we do something different.
The increase proposal has to be approved by the Public Utilities Commission. Residents have 90 days to circulate and present a petition in opposition if they choose. Otherwise, if the proposal is approved as it currently stands, the new pricing will take effect April 1st. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, a man was arrested in Brewer after several alleged instances of trespassing. 58-year-old David Lee Matcher was arrested for criminal trespass on February 14th after Brewer police say they located him outside a Wilson Street business attempting to fight customers entering. According to police, Lee Matcher refused to leave the property after multiple warnings and was arrested. He was later released. That same day, police say they located him ordering a pizza to a closed South Main Street business. He was arrested and charged with another count of criminal trespass in violation of conditional release. He was later released again from jail. But yesterday, officers responded to a report of a man sleeping in a different closed business on South Main Street. Police say officers arrived and located Lee Matcher at the scene. He was arrested once more on charges of criminal trespass and violation of conditional release.
Well, as Maine's housing shortage gets worse, officials warn that if nothing changes, the state could be nearly 80,000 units short by 2030. At the State House, the newly formed coalition Build Homes, Build Community laid out its priorities for the abbreviated legislative session. Members echoed concerns raised by state leaders, saying the lack of housing is directly tied to a lack of a workforce, as it makes it harder for employers to hire and for communities to grow. The coalition says it wants lawmakers to deregulate barriers they believe are slowing development and driving up the costs.
Maine has experts who have already identified specific regulatory barriers that slow housing down without improving outcomes. The LD 1375 process produced concrete recommendations we should enact because predictability and speed matter if we want to get homes built.
The group also pushed for bills they say would streamline state permitting and reduce delays to get more homes built faster.
A group of Maine people are working to spread the message to stop tax cuts for the wealthy and put that money towards solving Maine's affordability crisis. Mainers for Tax Fairness brought that message to lawmakers Thursday in conjunction with the legislative hearing on the tax components of Governor Mills' supplemental budget. Leaders say these funds should help Mainers struggling with everyday expenses like housing, health care, and food.
We need more than just one-time checks. We need long-term solutions for long-term problems. No amount of Band-Aids will fix an economy that too often feels rigged. Mainers want stability, they want fairness, they want solutions with staying power.
Tipping added that there are several bills in the legislature on these issues, and leaders need to work to ensure that they become law.
The Right to Repair ordinance is back in committee. It has been over 2 years since the referendum passed, giving people access to manufacturer information needed to repair modern vehicles at independent auto repair shops. At the start of the legislative season, the bill carried over was vetoed by Governor Mills, who cited a provision that would have allowed automobile manufacturers to control how vehicle telemetric data is accessed by independent shops, which was not included in the original referendum that was voted on by constituents. State leaders say that veto has since been upheld by the legislature, which is why it's back at the committee level.
Attorney General formed a working group of all the stakeholders, all sides of the issue, to try to work out some of those differences and to move to so we can move on to a very seamless implementation of that law.
As it currently stands, the commission will be made up of 12 people from various parts of the automotive industry, including motor vehicle manufacturers and independent repair facilities.
The Joint Standing Committee on the Judiciary heard public testimony yesterday on bills that aim to support tribal sovereignty for the Wabanaki Nations. LD 785 is a priority bill for the Wabanaki Alliance and Maine's Environmental Priorities Coalition. Advocates say the bill would restore the Wabanaki Nation's inherent right to self-determination and treat the Wabanaki Nations like all other federally recognized tribes. According to the bill's co-sponsor, Senator Rick Bennett of Oxford, the legislation is based on the recommendations of a bipartisan task force of legislatures to amend the Maine Indian Claims Settlement Act to restore self-governance over a range of issues.
It's not just about the tribes. It's about all of us Mainers. And if the tribes are prospering and are free to pursue their own ambitions, then I think that it will lift the boats for all Mainers.
The committee also heard public testimony on LD 395, an act to restore access to federal laws beneficial to the Wabanaki Nations. According to the Wabanaki Alliance, this bill would modernize the settlement acts, ensuring that the tribes in Maine are not excluded when Congress passes federal legislation for tribes nationwide. The time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Maine Sheriff's Association is hoping to expand new electronic systems in all Maine County jails.
We'll hear why that's so important, but first another look at that forecast. We'll see more clouds as the day rolls along today. Highs will be around 36 degrees. Mostly cloudy tonight with snow showers developing, lows dropping down to around 11. Tomorrow will start off on the snowy side, otherwise a mostly sunny day. Highs around 29. We'll be right back.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all.
Well-qualified buyers can get 1.9% financing when you finance with GM Financial. Or qualified lessees can get this Silverado pickup for around $399 a month.
Whether you can pinpoint the problem or can't quite put your finger on it, the friendly professionals from Coastal Auto Parts can help point you in the right direction. With Maine's largest network of parts, you can trust your vehicle will have what it needs to get you to the moments that matter most. Because Napa knows the keys to a winning team. With 30 locations in Maine, Coastal Auto Parts helps keep our communities running with quality parts and helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Coastal Auto Parts is owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Our names were whispered through time, from generation to generation.
Don't you feel that there are things that cannot be explained?
God has a destiny for us.
Surely nothing is impossible for God.
Members of Maine law enforcement are hoping to expand an electronic victim notification system to more county jails following the launch of a pilot program last summer. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
The Maine Sheriff's Association is pushing for lawmakers to fund an electronic victim notification system to be implemented across all of Maine's county jails.
Legislators themselves have spoken several times now asking us that very important question. Why is Maine the last state in the country to have electronic victim notification? It simply doesn't make sense.
In May of last year, the Sheriff's Association launched a pilot program at 4 jails using Vine, a system where individuals can voluntarily register to be notified upon the release of an inmate.
This program's worked incredibly well. We've had over 6,000 notifications that have occurred already.
Sheriff Morton says they are now hoping to see lawmakers approve $250,000 in the upcoming supplemental budget to move beyond the pilot project and establish a 2-year program that reaches all 15 county jails.
This situation allows us to make sure that we're protecting victims and witnesses who I feel have been gotten too often in the criminal justice system reform, that we're losing track or losing the attention that should be paid on victims and witnesses.
According to Sheriff Morton, the service is also intended to complement and improve existing notification systems mandated by law for certain crimes.
This isn't a county corrections issue. This is a statewide issue to protect victims and witnesses through electronic notification and no longer put our state last in something that's probably the most important.
Morton is expected to advocate for the funding at a public hearing in Augusta next week. In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The first woman to serve as an adjutant general of the Maine National Guard and the first female brigadier general in Maine has been promoted once again. Brigadier General Diane Dunn was promoted to Major General this week. The ceremony happening in front of family, friends, and colleagues, and currently serving and retired service members as well. Major General Dunn is the Adjutant General for the Maine Army National Guard and Maine Air National Guard, as well as the Commissioner for the Maine Department of Defense, Veterans, and Emergency Management. She has held numerous positions since starting her career in 1988, including Company Commander, Battalion Commander, and Chief of Staff, just to name a few. In 2020, Dunn became the first female Brigadier General in the state, and in 2024, she became the 41st Adjutant General for the Maine National Guard and first female to hold that position. Her newest promotion makes her the first female Major General to serve in the Maine National Guard. And she said, quote, "I do not see this as a personal achievement alone, but as a testament to progress and possibility. If this moment inspires even one young person to believe that there is no limit to their service, then it will have meant something far greater than a star on a uniform." What a great quote there,
It is. Well, after the break, the search for Nancy Guthrie is still underway, but dispatchers in Arizona are urging people to think before calling in a tip. Plus, a young entrepreneur has taken over a cafe in downtown Ellsworth. We'll meet her as Good Morning Maine continues.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Are plumbing problems giving you a headache? Look no further than Sprague's Plumbing Solutions. With more than 10 years' experience, Sprague's Plumbing Solutions has the knowledge to assist with your plumbing issues. Whether it's a service, remodel, new build, or commercial, we've got you covered. For reliable, professional plumbing services, call Sprague's Plumbing Solutions today for a free estimate. 951-1637. We're here to make your plumbing problems disappear.
I got hurt by a big truck. Why did I call the twos? Because life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money, and I'll fight to get it for you. We got a client who broke multiple bones in a commercial vehicle accident, $700,000. Another client had a brain injury, and we got them $1.15 million. If you get hurt by a big truck, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Welcome back, everyone. A cafe in downtown Ellsworth is under new ownership.
Even though she's in her mid-20s, her familiarity with the establishment is quite extensive. Our Doug Banks has that story.
At 24 years old, dreams can sometimes feel far removed from reality. But for Sailor Desjardins, she's woken up and smelled the coffee. On Monday, the keys and tradition of the Flexit Cafe were handed over to her.
It's been pretty good so far.
Well, she's perfect.
This is Paul Marcosian, who alongside his wife started the cafe in 2015. Its concept is what's called a third space, a place where people can sit down with a cup of coffee and stay for hours. Something the new owner is no stranger to, because when she was in college, she'd stop in, buy
a cup of coffee and some hash brown bites,
and study for hours. Never once was she asked to leave.
I really hope to keep that same vibe.
Desjardins also began working at her home away from home a few years ago. But this past fall, an opportunity arose.
I would tell people, you know, I'd like to retire in about 2 years. But I'd been saying that for like 6 years.
And I never really took him seriously because he's just always working.
But one day she asked me if I was serious
about selling Flexit.
And I said yes.
I knew I wanted to start my own business or take over another business.
We started talking and we came to an agreement.
So now begins a new chapter at a cafe, decorated with employee-drawn art and delicately crafted coffee. But their new chapter is written within the same book.
Most of the people that come in here know him, and he's able to just go out into the lobby and talk with almost everybody at every table. And I hope to be able to do that and form that connection with the community as well.
In Ellsworth, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Good for her. We hope
Absolutely.
she has a long and great success there.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
Now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a winter weather advisory across the southwestern parts of the state, expiring at 7 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday for snow accumulations that will be causing some travel difficulties. We also have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 5 a.m. as we head towards your Sunday. Wave heights not bad just yet, but they will be getting bad with that area low pressure that will be passing through. 2 to 3 foot wave heights for now. It's a little more active farther out towards sea at around 3 to 6 feet. Meanwhile, on land, it's the calm before the storm. Notice not much cloud cover for now, so we will have some sunshine. But if you notice, as we zoom things out, there is a system right there. For now, it's rain. As it tracks off towards the north and east, we'll see that transition over to snow. As for us, it will be an all snow event that will be moving in. So here's Futurecast. We'll see the snow beginning at around 7 to 8 o'clock later on tonight, continuing until about Saturday morning. Notice it does begin to get out of here. So Saturday, we will be dry. Set aside maybe a few morning snow showers. Then by Saturday night, still looking pretty good. Maybe some clouds and a few areas of dense fog, and that's about it. With regards to snow accumulations, we could see around 2 to 4 inches of snow near the Bangor area, to Bar Harbor, even Greenville, near Washington County, maybe up to around an inch, and that's about it. Here's why that advisory is up in the southwestern parts of the state. They could see around 3 to 6 inches of snow, and that's about it. But otherwise for today, here's what we got. Increasing clouds, highs in the mid-30s, and that northeast wind at around 5 miles per hour. All right, the winds pick up tonight. We have lower teens, mostly cloudy. The snow gets going too, and that north wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, tomorrow it's Saturday, upper 20s. You may see some morning snow showers, then becoming mostly sunny with that north wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Partly cloudy on Sunday with highs in the mid-30s, and then upper 20s Monday, another chance for snow showers, and then mostly cloudy on Tuesday, highs in the upper 20s.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
At Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Darling's Kia, you can't miss in 2026. Drive a brand new all-wheel drive Sportage for only $299 a month, or buy a new Kia SUV for under $20,000. Plus, every new Kia comes with our 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business. You can't miss this and more at Darling's Kia. The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. You'll do better at Darling's.
Start your weekend with a slam on Fox College Hoops Friday. Big-time rivalries. These two teams, they don't like each other. Old scores to settle. He'll let it go. And new chapters to write. Exclamation point. Every Friday. All season long. Big time to the bucket. Oh! Indiana, Purdue on Fox College Hoops Friday.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Overnight, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor returns home after his arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office. The former Prince Andrew has not been formally charged. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio has the latest.
This morning, this picture of former Prince Andrew leaving the police station is front page news worldwide after the unprecedented arrest of a British royal. Headlines reading, "Now he's sweating, we can see you sneaking out, and what did they know?" The arrest follows the emergence of documents from the U.S. Justice Department detailing communications between Andrew and the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew was arrested at the king's private estate, but sources say the monarch was given no advance notice. The king not answering questions after Andrew's arrest.
Your Majesty, how are you feeling after your brother's arrest? Have you spoken to your brother, Your Majesty?
Instead, releasing a statement earlier saying what now follows is the full, fair, and proper process, pledging authorities will have his full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Although he was released while still under investigation, Andrew has not been charged and has previously denied any wrongdoing. He was already stripped of his titles because of his ties to Epstein. Survivors reacting to the news.
We were all of the survivors that I'm in touch with, so very happy to see that had finally happened, and that the UK was taking steps to actually investigate and hold perpetrators accountable.
Meanwhile, according to court documents filed on Thursday, the co-executors of Jeffrey Epstein's estate have agreed to settle a class action lawsuit filed against them by survivors of Epstein's abuse for at least $25 million. The proposed settlement, which a federal judge will have to approve, does not include an admission of wrongdoing. Now, if convicted, misconduct in public office carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, as the search for Nancy Guthrie continues, dispatchers at an Arizona call center are urging people to think before they call in a potential tip. Since the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie was reported missing almost 3 weeks ago, investigators have received as many as 30,000 tips. The FBI and local authorities are processing a high volume of possible leads each day. Cecilia Ochoa, a 911 dispatch manager in Tucson, explains the call center's process to vet tips and advice on when to call in any important information.
When somebody feels that they have a tip, a lead, some sort of information, what we're asking is that you just take a moment before you call and ask yourself, is this tip viable? Is this tip credible? Is this a tip that investigators may be able to act upon? Those are really the three things that we really ask of everybody, to include the FBI line as well, because both places are getting heavy call loads, and we want to make sure that we're passing on accurate and factual information to our investigators.
Ochoa says it's important to keep lines open and available for emergencies not related to the Guthrie investigation.
Relatives of Venezuelan political prisoners celebrate the approval of the new amnesty bill. The country's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, signed the new legislation on Thursday. The bill is expected to release opposition members, activists, human rights defenders, journalists, and others who have been targeted by the country's ruling party for the past 27 years. Relatives of the detainees say they are excited to get their family members back home, while others are unsure if the legislation will bring change. The country has been gradually releasing detainees since the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro back in January and freed 17 political prisoners on Saturday. President Rodriguez said on Thursday she hopes the bill opens the door to reconciliation.
All right, when we come back, I think we're going to be hearing about something fun happening at the Gracie Theater.
I think so too.
We'll have to wait and see, though.
Yes, we will.
Don't go away.
Even if your child has moderate to severe eczema, they can feel the flow, feel the breeze. And Dupixent helps them feel the heal. It helps calm a key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Dupixent is the only biologic therapy approved to treat kids as young as 6 months for noticeably clearer skin and less itch. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Dupixent. Help heal their skin from within so they can stay ahead of eczema. Find an eczema specialist and ask about Dupixent today.
You are watching WFVX, Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, February 20th, 2026, and it is also National Love Your Pet Day.
There are many things that differentiate humans from the rest of the animal kingdom, and one of our more unusual behaviors is our tendency to keep other animals as pets. 57% of American households own at least one pet, and this is a day to show them some affection for all they bring to our lives.
And they certainly do that.
They do.
All right, time for history. It was on this day back in 1792, President George Washington signed an act to create the United States Post Office Department. That was the predecessor of the U.S. Postal Service. In 1862, the 11-year-old son of President Abraham Lincoln and First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln died at the White House. It's believed that he had typhoid fever. And in 1905 on this date, the Supreme Court upheld the nation's vaccination laws intended to protect the public's health.
And in 1962, astronaut John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth. He circled the globe 3 times in his Friendship 7 spacecraft. And in 1998, American Tara Lipinski became the youngest Olympic figure skating gold medalist. The 15-year-old won the women's title at the Nagano Olympics, and American skater Michelle Kwan took home the silver.
Tara's now doing commentary.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, that's
She's
neat.
very fun.
Yeah.
And in 2003, a fire sparked by pyrotechnics broke out during a concert at a nightclub in Warwick, Rhode Island. 100 people were killed and more than 200 were injured. The band The Great White had just performed in Bangor with the same type of pyrotechnics before that tragic event took place.
Yeah, they were just up here on the Odlin Road like 2 days before that
Wow.
happened and used the same kind of pyrotechnics here.
Scary.
All right, for birthdays today, they include pop singer Olivia Rodrigo, who is 23 today. Singer Rihanna is 38, and actor Miles Teller is 39 years old today. Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Evan Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have advisories posted. A small craft advisory up until Sunday at around 5 a.m. and a winter weather advisory that runs until Saturday at around 7 a.m. for snow accumulations further off toward the south and west that will cause some travel difficulties. But in the meantime, it's a calm before the storm as the rest of the state is very quiet. But we are going to be watching for increasing clouds today as a system located right about in here will be tracking off towards the north and east throughout the daytime period today, and it will cause increasing clouds across the region during the day. Later on tonight, we will be seeing the snow passing through. It will start to clear out of here throughout the day on Saturday. But in the meantime, gusty winds will also become a thing throughout the evening period tonight, and that will continue as we head towards your Saturday. Gusty winds up to around 20 miles per hour. Hourly forecast today will have increasing clouds with temperatures making it into the 30s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Lots of tourney highlights right after this.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America's asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all.
Well-qualified buyers can get 1.9% financing when you finance with GM Financial. Or qualified lessees can get this Silverado pickup for around $399 a month.
Do you want free internet? Forever? You got it. Really. We mean it. Spectrum is offering free fiber-powered internet forever. Want it? Just call this number and switch 4 mobile lines to Spectrum for a lifetime of internet you never pay for. It's not a trial. It's an unprecedented offer. So we'll say it again. Free fiber-powered internet forever. Have you called yet? Because your internet is forever. But this ad ends now.
Our hands built America. Hands that carve, shape, teach, and care. We've always had tools that made us faster and more capable. But they never replaced the people who held them. Because a machine can't take pride in a hard day's work or teach a son right from wrong. Because the most important intelligence is human. AI is being designed to replace us. We should have a say.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You had me a trash panda. That was gangster. It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it!
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Your goal is to put items in the correct order before,
in between,
definitely after.
This is the perfect line. Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back in, folks. Thursday was packed with semifinal action at the Cross in Bangor. We'll bring you all the action right now. First game of the day was number 2 Madawaska, number 3 Fort Fairfield battling for a spot in the D North final. We pick it up in the third. Tigers down 9, but look at the ball movement. Charlie Griffith finishes it off with a layup, and don't look now, but here comes Fort Fairfield. Caden Alla launches the NBA 3. It's nothing but net. Tigers would bring it within 2. Madawaska in a drought, but their Superman comes to the rescue. Quinn Pelletier finishes through the contact for the bucket and the foul. They're up 4 after the third, but the Tigers refusing to go away as Lucas Cormier drains the 3. Fort Fairfield takes a 1-point lead in the fourth. Pelletier answers the bell again, though. He drives, pumps, steps through for the easy 2 and the lead. Madawaska would go on a run. Here's the dagger. Braden Pelletier finds Alec Gendro, who buries the corner 3 to put the Owls up 7. Then Pelletier with a cherry on top denies any hope of a comeback with this block as Madawaska advances to the D North final.
It feels great, man. We've been hoping for this since we lost last year. This has been our goal, and I'm glad we got here.
Who will Madawaska face in the regional? Number 1, Machias, or number 5, Hodgson? They duke it out to decide. The number 1 team would get it going early when Caden Carter finds Mickey Fitzsimmons outside the line. He's open, he pulls it, and he's right on the mark. Hawks respond with great ball movement and a 3 of their own. This one comes from Cameron Huntington. No one around him, he gets it to go. Hodgson is going to be back at it again. This time it's captain Kyron Carleglio. His corner 3 is up, and his corner 3 is good. Hawks stay in it as they try to keep it going, but the pass is picked up by Liam O'Connor. He's going the other way. One man to beat, some touch on the shot, and it goes. O'Connor is all over the floor. This time he dishes one to TJ Holmes right under the net. He gives O'Connor the assist. Second half, he's back with more. Here's the drive, and here's the tough shot, and there's the 2. Machias moves on with a 56-51 win.
You hear a lot of stuff just like that you can't get over the first round, and it's your mental thing, but once we got over the first round the other day, it was good.
First Class C semi of the day was number 3 Fort Kent taking on number 2 Mattanock. This one was great. We picked it up in the first where Andrew Oliver starts fast. He puts the Lynx up 5-0, but the Warriors would erase that deficit quickly as Aiden Jeffers lays it up and in to tie it at 5. But MA would take control of the first half. It's Oliver again with a corner 3 to put Mattanock up 8. They lead 29-25 at the break. Fort Kent, though, would storm out of half as Mason Pelletier drains the 3 from the same spot. 6-0 run out of the break. They're up 2. Lynx fight back as Oliver feeds True Weatherby, who lays it in to put Mattanock up 3. But this is where it all changed for good. End of the third. Jeffers on the break. He gets intentionally fouled, but also finishes the bucket. That's a 4-point play after the extra free throw. Warriors up 4. It's the 4th. Jeffers again, he drives and finishes through the contact with the bucket and the foul to put Fort Kent up 4 again. Then it's Jeffers putting the cherry on top. He had 23 points, 18 in the second half, 11 in the fourth. As number 3 Fort Kent advances to the D-North final.
I mean, it feels great. Our school hasn't been known as a basketball team, and we've just always wanted to get to this point, and to finally do it feels great.
Feels great, everybody doubting us, thinking they're gonna, win. It just feels great just coming in here and getting them out of there. We come from a small town, so when we come to these places, like I said in the last interview, we just gotta show out and then show what we can do, and I think we did that tonight.
Who will face the Lynx on Saturday? Will number 1 Caribou clinch their spot, or will Washington Academy give us another upset? It was Washington getting it started as the ball is kicked outside to Jaden Mahar. He wastes no time jacking that one up and putting it between the iron for 3. Now watch this Viking senior, Colby Ouellette, looking like Jokic with this toss to Landon Belanger, who very casually puts up the one-hand layup for 2. Then the next play, Belanger forces the turnover, picked up by Declan Miller. Toss to Owen Kerrigan, finally back to Belanger, throws it down. The place goes nuts. How about a triple from Corrigan to follow up that dunk? This one goes, and the Vikings start to pull ahead. Raiders fight to stay in it with a 3-pointer from Parker Cates, but it's not enough. Tip pass is going to fall to Ouellette, who's going to finish the play as the Vikings move on with a 70-55 win.
We just had to bring up our energy, and that's really it. Got us pumped up, and we just went from there.
Now for C girls, it's number 2 George Stevens Academy taking on number 3 Foxcroft Academy. We pick it up in the first, and it was all Eagles to start. Layla Hutchins swats the shot away as GSA is up 7-2. But here come the Eagles. Addie Day lays it in. Sorry, here come the Ponies. He lays it in on a 10-0 run. It's 12-7 Ponies. Eagles are trying to steal some momentum back. It's Taylor Grego. She finishes the fast break layup, and the Eagles are down 4. End of the first half. It's Maddie Muth. She knocks down the jumper, and it's 25-18 Ponies at the break. Foxcroft Academy rolling at a halftime. Day feeds Cassidy LaBelle, who lays it in to put her team up 11. Eagles clawing back. Hutchins grabs the offensive board, lays it in to bring them within 4, but Foxcroft Academy would pull away as Allie Cook gets the bucket and the foul. The Ponies punch their ticket to the C North Final. And finally, the last game of the day, we go to Mattanock Academy. It will be taking on Who will be taking on Foxcroft Academy. Mattanock Lynx are the 5-seeded Caribou Vikings. Stay in the first quarter. Caribou's Peyton West gets the offensive rebound, floats it up and over for 2. Lynx with the ball. Chloe De La Cruz is wide open down low for the easy 2. De La Cruz this time posting up. She'll show great touch for another 2 and moves their lead forward. Vikings respond with a nice step through from Bryn Hamilton for another 2 points. Lynx on offense, a great cross-court pass, shifts the Vikings defense. They're unable to recover, leaving lefty Natalie Turner with a great look from 3. That's good to go. Lynx showing off on defense. Addison Sear with a rejection. De La Cruz gets the fast break started with a great pass to Megan House to end a great sequence. Caribou would respond with a West finish down low through contact. The Lady Lynx on offense, though, was top-notch. Juliana Klauke drains the 3-pointers. Mattanock Academy will move on to the regional finals with a score of 58-43. And we'll take a look at the schedule now for tomorrow, as in Friday. Class A North Regionals, Hamden Academy versus Mount Ararat. That's been moved up to 5 p.m. due to weather. And the boys, Brunswick versus Camden Hills at 6:45. And Class B North up in Bangor, Lawrence versus Gardner was also moved up to 5 p.m. And then Gardner versus Coney and the boys matchup is at 6:45. Then on Saturday, the Class A South Regionals, Cheverus versus Sopo, Cheverus versus Portland as well. And then Class B South Regionals, Gray, New Gloucester versus Oceanside at 2, Madomic versus Yarmouth at 3:45. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back.
Looking for a welcoming place where quality and care meet? Come to the Cheese House in Fairfield, your local shop for premium herbs, wellness products, and friendly guidance. Whether you're curious or experienced, our knowledgeable team takes the time to help you find exactly what works for you, with respect and no judgment. Visit us today at 5 Pike Drive. The Cheese House. Quality, community, care. We're here for you.
We're at Bob's with our 5-star rated modular Bob's sectional.
And I'm at the Jensen's, who bought this similar set from the competition. Both sectionals have buttery soft upholstery and come in multiple colors.
But only ours has Bobopedic memory foam, storage, wireless charging, and costs hundreds less. Plus, we've got Washington on our side.
And they've got Van Buren, whose greatest feat was coining the term okay. When you find the better choice, there's only one thing to say. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Discover the charm of Warren's Waterfront Restaurant, Bucksport's only waterfront dining. Relax in a cozy atmosphere where every visit feels like home. Indulge in fresh, flavorful dishes paired with stunning river views. Join us at Warren's Waterfront, your perfect escape.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
In Minneapolis, innocent citizens gunned down. Here in Maine, ICE agents detaining local law enforcement. And Susan Collins is giving ICE even more power. As head of the committee that controls spending, Collins wrote the bill to increase ICE funding with no restrictions, no restraints, letting masked agents enter homes without warrants, raid churches and classrooms. Tell Susan Collins to stop towing the party line and start holding ICE accountable.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, we're happy to have our friend Jerry Missler joining us again from Hudson's Gracie Theater. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
You run the whole show over there.
The whole shebang.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And speaking of shows, you're here to tell us about sounds like a really fun show for this weekend.
Yeah, tomorrow at 5 o'clock we have Girls' Night, the musical.
All right.
So it is filled with all kinds of really relatable songs. Girls just want to have fun, Lady Marmalade, just all the favorites. So this kind of jukebox style musical is a lot of fun because it has the recognizable songs like It's Raining Men, which is one of my favorites.
Great time for maybe some good girl energy out there.
Exactly. Huh? It's a fun night out. Plus, the story is so relatable. It's 5 women, and they are friends from, through the decades. Yeah. And so they talk about their past. they're present, and then they dream of the future. And I think that's kind of where we all are, right?
So is this more of like a play kind of thing?
It is, yeah, it is.
Okay.
It has a story with music, so it's a musical,
Okay, all
like you
right.
would see. It's a fully realized musical with costumes and a set and everything. So lots of fun happening tomorrow. It's a great night out, and I love that it's at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, make it a little earlier.
Oh yeah. So we have a little wine and cheese we can serve before the show, because that's of course going on in the musical itself as well. So.
Oh, that'll be neat. This may be a good time for maybe some girlfriends to get together and go watch something fun to do.
And I've heard some men like it too.
Well, I was going to my next question. Are guys allowed to come to this too?
Oh, they're definitely allowed.
Okay.
And they get the inside scoop of what really happens on a girls' night out.
All right. Maybe score some points with your friend, your lady friend too, in the process. So
it's super popular. It's it's on tour right now. It was on Broadway, off Broadway for a long time,
Right.
and now it's on Broadway here in Bangor.
Well,
so
good deal. So the details, it's at 5 o'clock tomorrow at Gracie Theater. How much are tickets, that kind of thing?
Tickets start at $37.50, go up to $55 depending on where you want to sit,
Right.
and they're available at 941-7888 today online, also at gracietheater.com. And we'll be selling tickets right up till 5 o'clock tomorrow too.
Easy peasy. It looks like the storm's going to cooperate too. The snow will end, giving them plenty of time to clear it out. So
yeah,
a good
absolutely.
fun thing to do locally here. Anything else you want to tease? You have some other fun things coming up here.
We do. On March 21st, we were able to pick up a great show, the Mallet Brothers Band.
Ooh, yeah.
They are fantastic, and they're making a tour all around the Northeast, promoting their album, and we are so delighted to have them. That's on Saturday, March 21st at 7:30, and tickets are going for that one as well. So it's great to grab those things in advance.
Right. Well, it gives people something to look forward to too, you know?
Oh, yeah. The band is hugely popular. Of course, Dave Mallet is their father, so two of the sons got together to form this band 15 years ago.
Kind of carrying on the tradition.
Absolutely. Yeah. They are hitting their stride and just making a smash everywhere they're going. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's a perfect show for the Gracie, just like Girls' Night, the musical.
Yeah.
Fits really well in our beautiful, intimate space, yet it's lovely and comfortable.
And acoustically, it's a great place for musicals and music, period, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Our NESCOM students love working in there, fabulous sound, so they'll get to get their hands on the soundboard as well. So it's good for a lot of reasons.
Well, let's hope you get a lot of people out there. So, Jerry, thank you for stopping by this morning.
Thanks for letting me promote my shows and visiting here at Channel 7. I appreciate it.
You are welcome to come anytime. We always like it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to send things back to Devin now for a final look at that forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a winter weather advisory across the southwestern parts of the state, expiring at 7 a.m. as we head towards your Saturday for snow accumulations that will be causing some travel difficulties. We also have a small craft advisory up along the coast until 5 a.m. as we head towards your Sunday. Wave heights not bad just yet, but they will be getting bad with that area low pressure that will be passing through. 2 to 3 foot wave heights for now. It's a little more active farther out towards sea at around 3 to 6 feet. Meanwhile, on land, it's the calm before the storm. Notice not much cloud cover for now, so we will have some sunshine. But if you notice, as we zoom things out, there is a system right there. For now, it's rain. As it tracks off towards the north and east, we'll see that transition over to snow. As for us, it will be an all snow event that will be moving in. So here's Futurecast. We'll see the snow beginning at around 7 to 8 o'clock later on tonight, continuing until about Saturday morning. Notice it does begin to get out of here. So Saturday, we will be dry, set aside maybe a few morning snow showers. Then by Saturday night, still looking pretty good. Maybe some clouds and a few areas of dense fog, and that's about it. With regards to snow accumulations, we could see around 2 to 4 inches of snow near the Bangor area, to Bar Harbor, even Greenville, near Washington County, maybe up to around an inch, and that's about it. Here's why that advisory is up in the southwestern parts of the state. They could see around 3 to 6 inches of snow, and that's about it. But otherwise for today, here's what we got. Increasing clouds, highs in the mid-30s and that northeast wind at around 5 miles per hour. All right, the winds pick up tonight. We have lower teens, mostly cloudy. The snow gets going too, and that north wind at around 20 miles per hour. All right, tomorrow it's Saturday, upper 20s. You may see some morning snow showers, then becoming mostly sunny with that north wind getting up to about 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Partly cloudy on Sunday with highs in the mid-30s, and then upper 20s Monday, another chance for snow showers, and then mostly cloudy on Tuesday, highs in the upper 20s.
Even if you have moderate to severe eczema, you can feel the rhythm, feel the flow, and Dupixent helps you feel the heal. It helps calm a key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Some adults saw fast itch relief after the first dose and long-lasting clear skin at 1 year. Many even saw 90% clear skin. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Stay ahead of eczema and help heal your skin from within. Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent today.
When lives are on the line, they don't hesitate to run towards danger. Unfortunately, the same gear that protects them from deadly flames can be hazardous to their health. Senator Susan Collins to the rescue. Susan helped introduce legislation that protects firefighters and first responders from cancer-causing forever chemicals in their equipment. Because their job is dangerous enough. Call Senator Collins and thank her for protecting Maine's first responders.
They've got the sharpest pencil in town. Have they just sit around that showroom figuring deals and whittling that old pencil down? They know that if you buy once, you're gonna be back. So instead of buying one, you're buying two, and that's a fact. They've got the sharpest pencil in town.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on.
President Trump orders the release of government files on aliens after a former president speaks out about them. The president said on Thursday night that he would direct Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and other relevant agencies to release government documents related to aliens and extraterrestrial life. The move comes less than a week since former President Barack Obama commented on the topic of aliens in an interview with political podcast host Brian Tyler Cohen. Obama said aliens were real, but that he, quote, hasn't seen them. The former president later clarified he had seen no evidence of aliens during his presidency and that his comment was based on personal beliefs. Trump shared his displeasure with those comments while on Air Force One on Thursday.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
A Pentagon spokesperson says the department, quote, looks forward to fulfilling the president's order.
A popular coffee and donut chain is making sure customers' hands stay warm while sipping on its iced beverages. Beginning on Friday or today, Dunkin' will give customers who purchase any iced drink an iced coffee glove for free. The limited edition glove will be available starting at 10 a.m. local time and participating Dunkin' locations across the country. The glove will be available while supplies last.
So you just get one.
I guess so, yeah.
I'd look great with that pink
That's
glove.
That's too funny.
All right, moving on. A hungry pig wanders into a North Carolina home searching for snacks. North Carolina police say they responded to an unusual report Monday after a pig wandered into a stranger's home. Imagine that, turning around, there's a pig.
Look at that picture.
He's so big, too. The pig, identified as Penelope by her owners, seemed to be looking for a snack. Police say after a, quote, short standoff, including a pack of crackers, Penelope was taken into custody before arriving at the Rutherford County Animal Control Services. The sus pig suspicious?
Suspicious.
Okay, we're trying to be fun there. Has now returned home to its owners. So we're happy to
that's
see that.
too funny.
Yeah, just looking for a little snack.
Of course.
No biggie.
Well, a new record for a piece of Cooper Flag memorabilia. The jersey worn by Dallas Mavericks rookie Cooper Flag in the first half of his NBA debut has been sold privately to Sotheby's for $1 million. A record for a Flag collectible and a record for a jersey sold through NBA auctions.
No word on who Sotheby's auctioned that off to.
Right.
But
that's really cool.
Owns a little piece of history there.
It is. A lot of money.
Imagine that. A guy that was just down in Newport a few years ago playing hoops.
His jersey sold for $1 million. How
about that?
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning. But as always, we thank you for joining us.
Have a great weekend, everyone.